All right. Good night. Good night, everybody. Welcome to Fatherhood Think Tank. I'm Ron Osborne Williams, the curator of the think tank. We have my man, this man got the bucket hat on tonight. See this, you don't get to see these people before they come on. Then they come on with these surprises for you, these outfits and things to have on. This is how live our show is. So it's a great point. You definitely should join us and watch Fatherhood Think Tank. It's not scripted. It's not any of those things. I don't see these guys until they log into the Zoom and we go live, and then bam, whatever they're going to be saying, whatever's going to be happening, is all based on the topic that we have. Tonight, we have a very interesting topic. It can go many, like most of our topics always can go, many different ways. When I was putting together the advertisement for this one, they had a lot of colorful pictures that I could have used to say "One Monkey Don't Stop the Show," but I kept it playing with the regular black and white writing. I didn't want to, because I had some, I'll say this. I had a little bit of, sometimes I get a little concerned when we talk about monkeys. And then,
you have a little reservations about it.
Yeah, and sometimes the big reservations when it's the majority of the face is going to be brown on the screen, and then we're going to be talking about monkeys, and then I don't. You got to, and it's funny that we don't even have to. Sometimes we don't even have to. We don't think about that. We just we just go with everything. But sometimes you have to be thinking about those things. But I mean, so I just keep it safe. But I know our conversation gonna get probably unsafe. There's a lot of things that go with this "One Monkey Don't Stop No Show" when it comes to fatherhood. And so we are here, and we want to welcome you to join us and enjoy our conversation. Now I'm going to ask the fathers to introduce themselves, and then we're going to come back to our topic for tonight. One Monkey Don't Stop the Show. And let me just say this one more thing before. You don't get to see it unless you're on Instagram, obviously. Instagram, that, when you add music, I added a song from Bessie. Her name is Bessie. I got to go back and check the full name. But she had the song, that was her song, "One Monkey Don't Stop the Show." So if you got this information, got this invitation from Instagram, definitely go and hear that song.
Not Bessie Smith back in the day.
I think so. I'm checking right now so I can make sure I'm saying the right person. Yeah, because it's an old song, but it's nice. It's nice because it kind of talks exactly to what we're talking about right here tonight and how we want to.
Yeah, they got a few remakes throughout the years. So, but yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into this topic that way we understand the history and the origins of it.
Mm-hmm. Big Maybell. Big Maybell, that's her name. Big Maybell. Let me play a little bit of it for you.
Something a long time ago. What?
We can't hear it, kind of went out.
You can't hear it. It must be good because we see you bopping over there.
Oh, well, you know why? Because I probably am sharing to hear. Anyway,
don't worry about it. One more.
So let the fathers introduce themselves.
Just sit there and vibing.
Let's get on with the topic for tonight. Go ahead, fathers.
Okay, Elder Thomas Alberry. I have an adult son and adult daughter. married, and I have 7 grands, 5 young ladies and 2 young men.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Since I'm gonna go right behind you, Elder Arbery. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, 3 young men, 4 young men, 3 young women, 1 granddaughter, and a grandson. My first grandson on the way sometime next year. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw him in there, prophesy over his life. So it's always a pleasure to be in. I can't wait to get into the topic.
Good evening, everybody. J. Rob Menard, father of 2 young adults, 1 male, 1 female.
Last piece of the puzzle. I'm Justin Gibbs, father of 5, 3 girls and 2 boys. And as usual, I'm always enjoying the time with you gentlemen. Come here, Gibby.
And I know Fred is there. I don't know. Oh, go
Father
ahead.
of 3, 1 grandson.
All right, so that's everybody, man, and we're here, and probably some other dads might jump on and we'll hear what they have to say. But I'm gonna say, man, this One Monkey Don't Stop show is one of them things to me is important all the way around. Someone sent me a video of a father who obviously had custody of his kids and the mom twins. And the mom came and took the girls, and now he's trying to look for them and can't find them or whatever. He has like almost a day. This is day 63. Every day he gets on Instagram, on social media, shows the pictures of his 2 daughters and says, "Hey, if you see these girls, please let me know." Blah 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 blah. They're what it doesn't say. It doesn't say call the authorities. He says call me and let me know. And probably because that's probably we always have this thing about the authorities as Black men, but
no, remember he may not have established rights, so when we don't need the
no. He has listen. He had custody of the kids. She had her. She dated, and that's why she on the thing. That's why he on there.
I got you.
Yeah, he said she came for a visit and then took the kids.
Wow, it's amazing because when it works vice versa, the guy would be plastered all over the thing, and they'll have that kid back in a week.
Absolutely. So but again, you said it right the first time. It is the idea that hey, maybe the kids should just be with the mom, might be better. But but not if they ain't have if they didn't have custody. You don't want something to have. How much a mom got to do not to have custody of their kids. They have to do a lot. I mean, so.
But in this case, he can't put you can't apply the One Monkey Don't Stop No show.
No, what I was going the way I was going to apply, and you brought me back to the reason why I even brought that up, is for this father, even though the mom has kind of, and I think a lot of times for fathers, when this kind of thing may happen to them, they say they take it the F it attitude, forget about it. I ain't about to deal with that. And that's the idea of the One Monkey stopping the show. And so in this case, the opportunity, and I think this can also go for mothers as well. I think both ways. When the other parent is doing something that ain't what we need to be doing to raise children together, regardless if we together or not, that whole idea of One Monkey Don't Stop the show, because these children still need to get whatever they don't get, how they gonna get it. And so that's what I was trying to jump into and throw out there. But you brought up and see how we can see it in all these different other perspectives.
It's amazing you said that, because when I looked up the origins of One Monkey Don't Stop No show, they had it as an African American colloquialism, right?
Right.
And I'm like, wow, okay, so the origins of it's an African American colloquialism. Then what does that say about, us and the fact that we would coin that term, or we would be the origins of who said a particular thing that would normally can be like normally derogatory in one sense, right? But affirm in another sense, or better yet, a term of endearment. And so in one sense, it can be derogatory. In another sense, it can be a term of endearment. Being that as it may, when you hear one monkey don't stop no show, and particularly the term was coined in the 1950s, given segregation and Jim Crow, which is another teachable moment as well to Jim Crow. But I'll digress from that right now and keep moving forward on the one monkey don't stop no show terminology. The fact that referring to us or even equating ourselves to monkeys or any type of making another Black person expendable. You understand? Because when you say one monkey don't stop no show, the terminology, the definition of the terminology just simply means one setback shouldn't stop progress. That's the formal understanding. One setback shouldn't stop progress. So that's the formal understanding of one monkey don't stop no show. So I don't want you guys to think that one monkey don't stop no show is one thing, because it's not. It's about the equivalent of today's, we're using the term my N-word. You understand how we use the N-word as a term of endearment when it comes to just basically fellowshipping amongst ourselves. And so the one monkey don't stop no show would have been, I'm down for my N-words today. You understand? It would be the same exact thing for the 1950s as I'm down for my N-words with the C murder back right now, back then. And so, but understanding the non-offensive term that one setback shouldn't stop progress, then how does that apply to fatherhood? Then I'm gonna just go ahead and be risky with it. Here goes a one monkey don't stop no show. Child support shouldn't be stopping you from being a father. Child support ain't nothing but a monkey that shouldn't stop the show of fatherhood. You understand? And so when we're talking about this, I want you to see it like that. And see, sometimes we gotta, usually when we say one monkey don't stop no show, it only apply when it doesn't apply to our progress. You understand? But would you see one monkey don't stop no show as child support? Can you see that as that? You understand? And most times we can see it as, oh, I can get me another girl. You understand? But when it comes to child support, it seems like we can't get more money. That's amazing. I'm like, wait a minute. You can get more money than you can before you get another girl. And so this is what I can't understand when it comes to the logic of manhood, why we think it's easier to get another girl than it is to get another money. And so we start to put that human capital on it. And then this is where we really start to devalue each other. And this is where the one monkey don't stop no show starts to become more derogatory, is when we start to be more derogatory towards how we apply it. So the one monkey don't stop no show, the way you apply it is the way it can be on the difference between being offensive and empowering. So that's all I have to say.
You know, I'm listening to the term "one monkey don't stop no show." I think it's also equivalent to you got that monkey on your back, right? In the sense that it can apply, and like Lightborn was saying, you can. A lot of times you want to refer it to people, and it's not referred to people. It's referred to a situation, and like Lightborn was saying, child support is a situation. It's not a person. And that's how you're supposed to apply that one monkey don't stop no show, you know? And all the setbacks that you have when you're looking at the actual meaning of the setback doesn't stop the progress, it's even those little steps you got to take to beat the court system. The court system could be that monkey, right? But it doesn't stop you from being a father. You got to go through what you got to go through in order to get to the steps to be that engaged father, to be that father that's there. So again, you know, when you're looking at that monkey, so to speak, it's not really it's not a person, it's a situation. And don't equate it to people, equate it to the situations that you're in, because situations can always be overcome. You can't control people, but you can somewhat control the situation by the actions that you take. And so you want to make sure that you're putting that colloquialism that Lightborn was saying into the right perspective, so you can understand how to overcome those situations and stop that monkey from even showing up.
You know, I like what you just said, Ron, J. Rob, and I'm gonna piggyback on what you just said, just to get some clear understanding on this. So you're saying, in the scheme of things, a man that's on child support should see it like this: the court system is the circus, the child support is the monkey, and fatherhood is the show. You understand? And so when you see the court system as the circus and child support as the monkey and fatherhood as the show, then you start to get things in perspective so you can understand that one setback shouldn't stop your progress when as it pertains to your child and raising your children. So I really love that, J. Rob. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you said it well. You said it well.
Yeah, but okay, so I mean, you're saying we're talking about that, and so let me throw this out here. You know, we deal with a lot of mothers who say, "I ain't got time for you know, the fathers become the monkey that ain't gonna stop the show of raising the kids, and so often, you know, I want to break down this term "one monkey don't stop the show" type of thing, because it's important that we kind of break this down a little bit, because one monkey don't stop no show is not collaborative, right? You know, a part of, I seen another part of this quote that said, "One monkey don't stop no show, neither do 3 or 6. The progress still forward." Something to that case that it is, right? And as I thought about that, is the idea of this idea of and you kind of alluded to it earlier, Lightborn, that where this kind of comes from, one monkey don't stop a show. If we think of it in colloquial terms, it could be saying that, listen, if you don't get in line and do what everybody else do, it don't matter. We're gonna just let you move on. And this may not be one of the best ways to talk about raising children, in this idea that one monkey don't stop a show. Like, if dad and mom is together, if dad don't like something, well, one monkey don't stop a show. We still gonna do it anyway. And I know Elder Thomas can speak to that, because when him and his wife was raising their children, they definitely, I'm sure, didn't just say, well, this is what I'm saying, gonna do it, and mom don't like it. Well, she don't like it, it don't matter, because she ain't gonna stop what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it anyway. I mean, to me, that's a roadmap to disaster, not just for children, but also for your relationship. Because where's the community? Where's the family part of this? So looking at the whole idea, one monkey don't stop no show, means that someone's in charge and they have all the power, and everybody else needs to fall in line. And if people don't fall in line, well, we're just gonna say that it don't matter. You just move on, because we're gonna keep on going what we have to do. And I kind of, I looked at this and I'm bringing it, and it sounds kind of like a negative spin on the term, the statement. But like, bro, when you said it earlier, it brought it all to it went into my head, and it started calculating that this might not be the best statement for people who are raising children together or apart to say, because this is where we get to the attitude where the person say, well, you don't need no dad, because he a monkey and he ain't gonna stop this show, what we got going on, what I got going on. Because again, the show is ran by, most of these shows are usually organized and facilitated by the ringmaster, right? The show is, and so the ringmaster had complete power and competence to say who comes on next, what happens here, how this, and that's not and I would feel that that's not a way to raise children or to have a relationship where you dictate, and again, I'm throwing that out in this context because I can see definitely you can have a ringmaster who has talked to everybody prior to the circus and said, who's going to come out now, and who's going to do this, and who's going to do that, and okay, and we all joined it together, and this is the way it's going to happen. So I'm just throwing it out, just throwing it out there.
That's okay. I like it when you're playing the devil's advocate, but I wouldn't say I would never align you with the devil, but just for the sake of conversation. No, you're right. And in that extent, this is the perfect, I think this is the perfect topic, and here's why. Because everything in life has order to it, right? And even with that order, even the person given the order still have to live up to that order. And so that person who's given the order may find himself out of order, and the people that he's given the order to can actually, you understand, recite that order back to him so he can even get him back to order. What you're talking about as it pertains to monkeys and the families and stuff like that, and referring to the father as the monkey or whatever the case about it, or somebody that may be out of order as referred to as the monkey, is the difference between personalities and purpose, right? And so often that if you have a purpose for your family or purpose for anything, purpose for business, purpose, because everything in this world has some type of purpose to it. And so with that purpose, you're gonna have to understand which one becomes more priority than the other. Not more important than the other, but more prioritized than the other. And so, yes, the purpose can tolerate the personalities, right? But the personalities should never override the purpose. You understand? That means, yes, you can, it's like having a father in the house. Yes, it's important to have a father in the house, but a father shouldn't be abusive or raping his kids. So yes, the father is the purpose, but if his personality, right, start to endanger that purpose, then yes, he becomes the monkey and he becomes expendable to that particular show, which is that family. You understand? If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
No, it makes sense. Because I was, when I also agree with the fact that this is a perfect statement to use. I don't think it breeds separation. I think it actually breeds collaboration, because what happens is you need to figure stuff out and compromise in order for you to be successful. And I think that, that's some of what Lightborn was saying is that piece that allows you to do the compromising, because you're going to understand that if it's progress and purpose and it's beneficial to the family, you're not going to get in the way. We're going to move forward. Now, I can understand if it's at a detriment, and then there's going to be an issue, like Lightborn was saying. But if it's for the purpose and progress, you can't stand in the way of progress. You can't stand in the way of purpose. You can't stand in the way of success. Either get on the train or move out the way. You can't hold us to less than what we should be. And so I think that, once you start to think of it that way, then you understand the whole purpose of truly being in a relationship, because a relationship is collaboration. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand, they like to throw around the term of the how you call that? Not subservient, but the how do you call it?
Passive.
Huh?
Passive.
Something like that. But when you're dealing with the wife, right? So they say, I want a submissive.
Submissive.
Submissive. But they don't understand the term submissive when it comes to what it truly means. Submissive doesn't mean she sits in the corner and you rule the house with an iron fist. Submissive means she understands that at the end of the day, you're going to make the right choice based on information provided not by only yourself, but by her, because you seek the counsel of her within that submissive piece. And so taking into consideration what you know and what she has now, knowledge she has now given you, you're going to make the best choice to progress forward. And so that's where, the collaboration comes in, and a lot of people miss that piece. So when you do look at our topic today, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be the head, I'm going to be the lead, I'm going to do what it takes. You do what it takes with the person you're with. You don't do what it takes by itself. So even if you're not living in the same home with the mother of your child, you do what it takes by showing and leading by example for your children in order for it to be a successful all the way around. And that's what true submission means. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Well, maybe because a lot of times submission, again, it comes back to this original thing that Lightborn brought up. Submission is so much in it, and we see this in our society today. We have a large society that's really hyper focused on patriarchy and this idea of what patriarchy is on both ends, right? On both ends that they are focused on it, but not really sometimes thinking how much patriarchy is closely related to supremacy. It is almost the same. It is the same. in a patriarchy society, there's one leader who dictates and suppresses everyone else as their property, you know. And so when we're looking and talking about these topics, this actually is a big issue that people have. Like, you have people saying, well, I can't marry her, I can't be with this woman because she can't be submissive. And then I was like, what does submissive mean? Well, how are you defining a submissive woman exclusively just for you, though? Because what a woman may be to somebody else may not be the same thing she is to you. And so this idea that women come into, they come as, they have masculine energy. I don't know what listen, I don't even know what my own masculine energy looks like. I don't regulate and watch how I operate as a man to determine, is this masculine energy or not masculine energy? And then what's father energy and what's not father. I'm not looking at those things. I'm just trying to survive in a life and being a man and being a father. And trying in my mind be as successful as I believe that I can be. Now, what anybody else might see and what anybody else might experience in their perception of me doing that will not be may not be the way I perceive it and see it when I'm doing it and how I'm doing it. Somebody can say, well, you should have married that woman you had a child with. That's the only way you could be a really 24/7 dad. Well, I said, well, okay, that's true, but there's a lot of guys who married to their wives and don't even see their children. Never, ever. I mean, they hear about them. They hear them in the morning, waking up. Maybe, walk by their bedroom before they, go to bed. But we have to get out of these ideas of that there is someone who rules someone else, and that's a big part of, and I think when you brought that up about, we want a submissive woman. Who is we? Right? Don't talk about what do you want? You may want to dominate, you might want somebody like you, dominating you, telling you what to do and how to do everything. That might motivate you to do more things. Or you may not need somebody to do that for you. It's we have to get out of, generalizing things for everybody when our individual persons and our individual personal relationships are very individualized. They're not monolithic.
Okay, well, with that, with various people, different people got different standards. I can understand the submission. I can actually appreciate it as well. But then I understand the narrative and the value of submission as well. Because if somebody don't really understand this, because the way you just explained it is somebody who thinks submission, they're thinking one way. And so now they're thinking monolithic because they think submission is one way.
Right.
And so here they are accusing you of being, and they're doing the exact same thing that you're doing. And I see submission as a totally different thing. I see submission as a service of power. You understand? Or serving with power. So that you're using your service as a power as opposed to using your service as a prostitution. You understand? And so when you use your service as a power, it's like somebody, like I had a CEO at a company I worked at. She's the CEO, Black woman, wonderful. I give her a shout out to Allison Austin. She's a sweetheart. She actually, it's amazing. I'm a man, and one of my mentors, and one of my mentors was actually a Black woman. I kind of got a real crash course lesson from when it came to leadership. This woman was the CEO of the organization I worked for. And I pulled up and she was there. So she led by example. When I pulled up, she was already there. Opening the gate, opening the building up and all the other stuff. She's there. She's the CEO. Guess what? Submission-wise, she don't have to do that because she can delegate that authority to somebody else or subordinate. But here she is, the CEO, right? She's out there. She's opening the gate up. And she's actually, and you're going to love this part, she's sweeping up trash in the garbage can and putting the garbage cans back up right that the dogs turned over in the neighborhood that night, even though we got a maintenance staff. You understand? Now, if there's going to ever be a perfect example of submission, that was it for me. And guess what? It didn't have nothing to do with my personal marriage. I learned that from my work marriage. That woman took that purpose so, and she took that purpose so personally. And she had so much power with her service to that purpose. That's why we were so successful under her leadership. Notice I'm saying that's a woman CEO. In fact, she was a Black woman CEO. And so it was never beneath her to actually do the thing that she could have asked somebody else to do. That's submission. And until we understand what that submission really is and the power of submission, never try to control the narrative of what submission really is until you understand what it is and the power that it is.
So sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
Hey, Elder, you're going to put your thing on mute.
And so, you know, I like the example that you use, Lightborn, because I was going to actually use that example as far as understanding roles and because one thing that was always said, you know, and taking it from a business sense, like you said, the CEO, you don't have to know everything. You just have to have the right people around you that can help you figure it out, right? And when you look at business structures, and the CEO is not an expert on everything. The CEO hires different people in different departments to be those experts and give him the reports so he can be up to date, or she can be up to date on everything that's going on within an organization. Do you realize how much work it would be for that CEO to be hands-on every single piece? And so when you start to think about how you want to run your life, and you're running it in the sense of I need that to be in control, there's only so much control that you need to truly have. Whereas you also need to surround yourself with a supporting cast that will propel you and build you, right? Because everyone needs that. Like for a lot of us, even for myself, this right here, when I come on here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, this is also a building and a knowledge place for me. I'm learning every time I come on this. I'm learning a different way to look at something at times when I could be uniformly looking at it. And so I think that that's important, that people can understand that when you are building yourself, building your life, and you equate it to that business aspect, surround yourself with people and be able to delegate knowledge or obtain knowledge from those people that you're delegating to certain parts of your life. Because we all have people who fit certain areas within our life that can enrich us. And it's a matter of just tapping into that and understanding that, again, we can gain the knowledge, but we don't have to have all the knowledge right away. And that's how you work in an area and in your life.
Glad you said that, because, and I'm gonna shoot this to y'all, Brian Person. Y'all think y'all gonna sit on here and with all that wisdom and elderly knowledge and sit on here and look cute? You're not gonna look cute, Brian. You're gonna get in where you fit in, you and LJ. But nevertheless, well, one monkey don't stop no show when it comes to that, the different forms of leadership, as you saying. I also had a CEO who really had a one monkey don't stop no show attitude. That's the type of leadership that he had. Notice I said, now that's the type of leadership he had. So here I am, I had a Black woman CEO who understood the power of submission, right? And then I had a Black male CEO who was in the habit of trying to use his power to push people into submission. You see how that worked now, huh? Okay, and so you see the wisdom, because with wisdom come wealth. You understand? And yes, they both were CEOs, but which one was the more profitable CEO? You understand? The one who didn't treat people as expendable. And he had more, I'm gonna be honest with you, he had more talented people than she did. Because she had the talented people that he had, oh my God, she'll be a Fortune 500 nonprofit organization right now, if she had the type of people he had. And so because he didn't have he had that one monkey don't stop no show attitude and outlook, he was never able, he only can get what they call a fragment of what was actually that you know, he didn't even benefit from the full amount. He got 10% of what them people had to offer. But she was wise enough that if she had that same team working for her right now, man, I'm telling you, we couldn't even compete right now. That's how I said, so one monkey don't start no show is just an expendable attitude when you start to see people as expendable, and that's the most dangerous part. And that not only just work in a business relationship, that also works in a family relationship, a friend relationship, anything else. You should see it, particularly as Black people, we should always see the value in each other, because there was a time that slave owners saw the value in every Black person, so why we can't? And that's all I have to say about that. But go ahead, I'm gonna let Brian Person or LJ pick up on what I just left.
Well, look, guys, I'm not going to say a whole lot, but I can tell you this, that you made some very good points, because looking at each other, looking at what we have, what we bring forth, is so, so powerful. And it's not about competing, it's about enhancing. We're not in competition, because your skill may be just as beneficial as my skill. We don't have the same skill, but we doggone sure when we put them together, it benefits all of us. And I think that's what it's all about right there. That's the way we have to think. And a lot of that comes from, I can say this, guys, coming from a very large family. My parents had 14 children. And those kind of lessons you learn very, very early in life. And one of the tricks to the power elite is keeping those who are not at that level going against each other, because that keeps them safe. So that's my point.
And you just explained to the team with that power structure, Willie Lynch.
Absolutely.
Which was the exact strategy he used for slave breaking. He's supposed to have been this world-renowned slave breaker. And so what you explained is exactly to that T. And again, I think sometimes as African Americans, we may suffer from remnants of that when it comes to trying to balance the power dynamics. Would the world say power as opposed to what our heritage says power? So we're always up against that particular dynamic. But again, it's what you're saying is to always, and I think there's an old African words that we should live by, called Ubuntu, which basically states that I am because we are. And so when we understand the unity of Ubuntu, the fact that I am because we are, then we can never be expendable to each other.
Yeah, LJ put in the chat that he's working, but he's listening.
Yeah, I'm real quick. I just wanted to say, I love what you said, Lionel, in regards to the lady, because what I found is that if you're going to be a good leader, you've got to be a good follower.
That's right.
If you're not a good follower, you will not be a good leader. And because you learn, first of all, you're learning a job, and you're learning how to delegate and how to treat people. And also, when you've been in someone else's shoes, you know how they feel when they're doing certain jobs. So, you can have the empathy, apathy, whatever you want to call it, and to do those things that's necessary, to get the job done. And people like it like that because they know you've been there. When they know you'll jump in the hole with them, and they'll work harder, and it works every time. So listen, y'all keep doing a great job.
Yeah, that's a little bit of work psychology. I mean, leadership 101. Good leaders know how to know what all their employees do. And I'm gonna twist this back around to being a father. Know what every member does. What every employee does, and does it very occasionally, very often. Because what it also does, it re-empowers the employees to say that if the CEO is out here doing this, doing my job, shit, I need to take pride in doing my job a little bit better. I need to take some pride in doing my job the way I do it. And it's just a fact like that. But it clearly, I think, I have to always bring up the other side. When you telling people to do their job and do it harder, and you at the golf course in the middle of the day, Yeah, they probably not gonna work in the same capacity.
Okay, now get your mind
Also,
off golf,
also,
man. Hold up. Get your mind off golf. All right.
uh-huh. You know, looking at that topic tonight also could be, times we as fathers drop the ball in a sense where we drop the ball, and but the wife comes up and recovers that fumble that we did and help, but she doesn't let it show to the children that the father fumbled the ball. But they're working together and working as equals to bring, to show that, hey, your family, we're together, and we're gonna be supportive of one another.
Okay. Rohan, I see you moving around.
Yeah, you checking him out? Oh, Rohan.
I think Rohan is over there putting up the monkeys. He
No,
got
no, 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 no. I know this is a very, very good topic. Yeah, but it says here one monkey don't stop no show, right? But we know that to some degree it can. If most companies have rules and laws that you need to abide by, either company or family or personal family, and we know that things can go south, so to speak, if we don't have a understanding of our goals. And I think having a vision is what's important for both companies and your family. There has to be a dynamic to let us grow, and the things happen along the journey. And I believe Ron mentioned the leader should actually walk the step or do some of the job where some of the smaller guys on his team can do his or her team. What I see a lot going on now is entitlement. Many leaders believe that they're entitled. They're not willing to walk the walk. And I believe Robert mentioned that, or one of the fathers mentioned, if you're a leader, people are going to look towards you, look at your behavior, how you behave. So if you're lethargic, your staff will become lethargic, your family become lethargic. Because I believe a leader should have a team. If something happened to that leader, someone else should step in. Someone else should be able to step in and say, guess what? This leader is sick. Let's continue the show. But sometimes I don't see that. I see where one leader goes out and things just go haywire. I don't know if you guys have any answer to that, but I believe we need to work together as a team. That goes a far way.
You got a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because you just challenged the narrative. And by challenging the narrative, you said you believe that. You started out saying that you believe sometimes a monkey can stop the show. And I think a great example, only one incident came up, Rohan, when you said that. One incident came to mind that's very popular for me when people question whether, and I'm not referring to the guy as a monkey, but I'm just going to show you about when the monkey should have stopped the show. It's when that NFL football player last year had the heart attack.
That's right.
And the big question is, should they have went on with the game or should they have not went on with the game? And so that brings you back to your point of when does the monkey stop the show? And the good part about, I think mothers are very good at this, not saying fathers are not, but mothers are good at this, particularly big mamas, is when she understands all the monkeys in the show. You understand? And she know how to use every monkey ability or personality that can be used to stop the show to actually strengthen the other monkeys in the show, right? And what I mean by that is this, and not referring to black families as monkeys or whatever, but I'm just showing you how this works within the family dynamic of where a mom might use little Ray Ray and Pookie, right? And so we know Ray Ray have a behavior issue, right? And so Ray Ray's always getting in trouble, whatever. And then Ray Ray have a we like to call in the families, unfortunately, We call one the good kid and the bad kid. A wise mother knows the good and the bad of all of her kids. So she would never label one a good kid and a bad kid because she knows the good and bad of all of her kids. And so that mother, what she would do is use their strengths and weaknesses to actually help each other, to teach each other. And so where Ray Ray may be on his sleeve, he wears behavior on his sleeve. So he may be typically the bad kid. You understand? And when it comes to correction, she's not always correct. She will also understand that that good kid that she have may not be caring at all. So here the bad kid is the most caring kid. You understand? And the good kid don't care at all. Only a parent can know that. You understand? Because she said, you know what? This bad kid, he may not have a good mind, but he have a great heart. Whereas my good kid have a great mind and a bad heart. And you can see that in the parable in the Bible where they say of the prodigal son, which is always is so slighted and is taught. Well, my pastor didn't teach it poorly, but it's mostly taught poorly because that particular parable doesn't just expose the bad kid, the prodigalness of the prodigal son, but it actually exposed the prodigal in both sons. You understand? The prodigal son who went and wasted his money. But when the prodigal son came back home, you understand? The good son, you know what the sad part about the good son?
Mm-hmm.
The sad part about the good son is when the bad son came back home because the father thought he might be dead. I mean, his words was he thought his son was dead. And so when you find out that your son is not dead, which is his brother, you understand? It's almost like he regret the fact that his own brother was alive. What the hell is that? You understand? So with that, you may be good, and back to which is both LJ point and Brian's point. Yeah, you may be good at one thing. You may have a good head and a terrible heart. What's simply saying your heart needs to learn from your brother's head. And sometimes your head, you know what I'm saying? The head got to learn from the heart and the heart got to learn from the head. But you can't sit there and think that everybody's going to have it all because everybody don't have it all. And all of us can learn from each other. You can learn to be more charismatic, but guess what? You can also learn how to be more caring. And that's back to your point, the entitlement. And we can't confuse entitlement with empowerment because they're not the same.
They're not the same. That's right. And in today's society, we see, we see entitlement. Empowering is needs to be, we need to advocate for that. I think one father mentioned competition with mothers and fathers. It's not competition. It's not, I brought the baby in for 9 months. I can do better than you. It's working together. It's a common goal. There are many things, many, I would say myth that is out there that needs to be addressed to allow fathers to play a role in their children's lives. Definitely food for thought there.
But Rohan, you talking the idea of what I was saying is that one monkey don't stop the show. I don't need him to play a pivotal role because I'm going to get all, and this happens. I'm going to get a lot of the stuff I need from everywhere else but from him. And sometimes I feel like that's good because I don't mean I don't have to cooperate with him. I don't have to negotiate with him. I don't have to. And this is always the part that this puzzles me, is that how do we get to the point of the X's going into the O's, but we can't come and bring the X's and O's back outside after the baby's here? There was plenty of negotiation, conversation, collaboration, humpitation, palpitation, heart acceleration, all that happened. But now all of a sudden we don't have the means or the ability to be able to do that after that.
Well, Ron, let's be real. What wasn't mentioned just now was understanding, comprehension, communication, a plan. The things you mentioned are
all them things was, but Rohan, all those things was done because you had to communicate what we was gonna meet and how we was gonna meet. You had to what else you said?
Understanding.
we had to understand how we was gonna do it. We was going up and down, round and round, and
Right.
okay. What else? What else?
A plan.
The plan, definitely. The plan was hotel or my house or your house after the club, before the club, in the bathroom, in the
okay.
school. Go ahead. What else?
Communication is the key.
But he said they communicate. That's what Ron said. They
They
communicate.
did communicate. They communicated on
They
the
did.
action to get there. So my question is, what do we do? How do we as people communicating to get there? What do we need to put on our big girl and boy pants and communicate after we got there.
But Ron, I've mentioned this before. I don't want to say we're animals. I want to say that human beings, in my opinion, are unpredictable, emotional, and uncontrollable. I've mentioned this before, and the narrative that is on the land that we live in, the United States, is follow these procedures, right? We follow procedures, as you mentioned, and continue in a manner that is within the law or within our social network. But we know it doesn't work like that. We know that he or she could see another chick down the road and say, man, she's fine. And all of a sudden you lose interest. Males do it every day. Females do it every day. And we know that things don't always work out the way we want it to work out. No, even if you tie all the dots and the T's, for some reason, things just happen. What we really need to do, we really need to learn how to deal with these changes. Yeah. We need to learn how to deal with maybe separation, grief, divorce, financial literacy. There are many other areas that can empower us as families to that can empower us as families to grow. But as I said before to you, Ron, we are designed to reprocreate, and that part will never change. That's what we're designed to do.
Well, what you said, everything you said, communication, but I think, I think the 800-pound gorilla in the room, since we talk about one monkey don't stop in the show, I want to stick to the topic. But the biggest monkey of all, 800-pound gorilla in the room, is not the communication, it's the damn fornication.
There we go.
That's the problem right there. And so we really, and I'm talking about this because it is taboo. We don't want to talk about the fornication that actually transforms back to your point, procreation into recreation. And so when procreation becomes recreation, and that's all the dating scene was, because we're conditioned, you understand, for the dating scene, which was, to turn our procreation into recreation. And that's where the breakdown of communication come in at. And that's where the deceit come in at. You understand? She's sleeping with you for one reason and he's sleeping with her for another.
That's right.
And so there's no authentic or genuine, because even if we're communicating under really some very deceptive conditioning,
right?
Some deceptive practices. You understand? And some deceptive principles on whichever reason we thought that actually coming together, no pun intended. You heard that, J-Rob? Coming together, no pun intended. If you're lucky. The ramifications of it. And so, again, the biggest monkey of all is the 800-pound gorilla called fornication. And that's something that we really need to talk about too.
That's a topic.
I'm glad you led into that, because I was going to actually, touch on that a little bit. I think you're reading my mind tonight, because I was going to say that the breakdown of communication is not because they can't get together afterwards. It's because they didn't ever ask the what if in the first place, right? You got caught up in the moment and never said, yo, man, what if this ends up in the kid? What if this ends up in me having to deal with this person for however long I have to deal with them? You know what I'm saying? And that's never asked, because you're too stuck inside that moment of happiness. And I guess your brief moment of happiness, and you get lost in it. And then, there's a lot of conversation that people like to have when it comes around this, to say, well, well, she's pregnant, that's her fault. You know, she should have protected herself. But you just turned over the power. And I think we had this conversation before. You turned off the power to decide whether you were going to be a father or not. Right. You had it in the beginning when you said, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? Then when you decided to do it, you still had it when you said, I'm going to put protection on. It doesn't matter what you tell the other person, because one thing like Born said is, which is very true, is you don't know the intention of this person on the other side, right? They could be like, no, you know, I'm with you. We don't want no kids, nothing like that. And the minute that they find out they're pregnant, they're like, I'm keeping it. You're stuck. You see what I'm saying? So that what if that you want to pretend to never, that conversation you never want to have because you're too busy in the moment, is what can change the trajectory of everything else behind it. And so once you get lost in that, it's too late to ask what if after everything is a fact. Now is what am I going to do, not what if this happens. And I think that's the thing when it comes down to that communication, that you're not having that conversation with yourself first before you even have the conversation with somebody else.
That's right. And to add to that, we are the only ones as humans who we sell sex. What did we think sex in our mind, because that's a bit that's abomination too. When you're lost, I think we sell it, we procreate, we play with it, we do all kind of stuff that's really just to entertain and to fulfill our desires, our needs. But as you just mentioned, reprocreation, we end up having children. They come here through different means, different forms, different avenues, different mediums. And can we as fathers change that? Can we in this room change that narrative, Ron? What's your thought, Ron?
I think Gene already said it. I mean, we can definitely change, but we have to take the accountability of listen, let me say this. There are people who are doing this correctly. There are people who are doing this correctly. We spend a lot of time focusing on the people who are not doing it correctly, but there are people who are doing it correctly. So if there are people doing it correctly, sometimes the excuses that we use, the tool belts that we put on, that we begin to build these big giant monuments with, don't work, because there are people who are actually communicating. And they don't just have to be married. There are people who say, hey, we had this baby, we had the sex. Now let's talk about how we're going to be less about us and more about this child. And how do we work this out? How do we put our child's emotionality and development first before we concerned about, you know, what I lost and what I ain't gained and what I don't have on? Because at this point, we had our fun. If it was fun, some people just didn't doing things just to doing it. They ain't had no fun. But at that point, you have already, you know, your ticket has been cashed. So if you went inside the park, now if it's time to clean up and get the park ready, let's get to work.
So Ron, if you have a situation where we know that majority of some society, they deal with chronic stress. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Every day they get up into chronic stress. We know that some folks who are, let's say, financially stable, they don't have that chronic stress. And that's maybe some of the reasons why people.
Is that true, Doc? Come on now, don't try to get rich people to pass, Doc.
No, I'm not giving rich people a pass. I'm saying
Ron is right. They would have more stress than the average person. But go ahead.
Yeah, they got way more goddamn stress.
Yeah, that is correct. But I said chronic stress. No, you can have stress. I have $1 million and I'm trying to keep the million. I'm talking the folks who are at the bottom who's trying to put food on the table. I'm talking to folks who are trying to pay the light bill. The folks who every day they get up out of their beds, they're in survival mode. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, but guess what? Most of the stuff that happens to them is genuine. They genuinely have to pay the bills. They genuinely have to find food. It's genuine. And a part of that genuineness allows you not to have the same kind of stress to always think. We know if people look at us funny when we go in the store, maybe because they think that we're going to try to take something, right?
Right.
I moved past that. I ain't got no anxiety about that. But go in there, you be a rich person, you got a whole bunch of money, and somebody do that. When that happened to Oprah Winfrey, she was in uproar. That
Right.
the people would say that you don't know who I am? I'm Oprah Winfrey. I can buy this whole store. Didn't matter that you could buy. People already had their mindset about how they thought about what you might come in there and do. So imagine that. You saying that the people with the money gonna be more a little bit more come. Look, I just know that's how they is. I'm gonna keep on shopping. Here my, if I gotta shop here, I shop. If not, I keep on going, go somewhere else where people don't watch me. Cause I ain't got the money anyway. So
Right. So
it might be a motivation to get up out of here.
But listen, what you're saying, Rohan, is this. And because I don't think we want to over-exaggerate the lifestyle of a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever. I think we over-exaggerated too much by the fact that the millions of things that we can do, they can't do. And so they may have millions of dollars, but they don't have millions of freedom. Maybe you need to see it like that. And that's the difference between valuing, because sometimes if you ask a billionaire, he would probably value you more and the freedoms that you have more than he has. You understand? So I remember what I think was so many different stories, but I think one sticks out to me. Nicki Minaj say she remembered when she could go to the store at any given time and buy a Snicker or some kind of chocolate box. And so she was just having this, she was fiending for the chocolate bar. So she told the person to pull up to the, I think it was the Walgreens or something, and she put on a hat and snuck in just to get a Snicker. But I think they recognized her, and they, of course, they started to take the pictures and stuff like that. She didn't get overwhelmed by it, but somebody did recognize her enough to snap a picture and her, give them a little shout out or whatever. But she jumped back in her car just for a simple Snicker that me and you can go buy any day without any fanfare. And so that's why I'm saying that no, the freedoms are different. The values are different when it comes to rich and poor. So don't think that their chronic stress stress is different from our chronic stress.
Right.
I mean, Lionel Messi down here in Miami, Lionel Messi is a world-renowned soccer player. You understand? But he valued going to Publix. He didn't want to do rich people stuff. He just wanted to do literally working class people stuff. Right. So you can catch him at the wall, but every time he go, he's swamped in those at the local Publix down there in Brooklyn and all that different stuff. And so I think the powers that be and the people that's just watching out for his value, they have to let him know, well, no, you know what, you don't have that freedom anymore. You're gonna have to let people, food's gonna have to get delivered. And he don't want that, even though he's a superstar, world-renowned superstar, he don't want that for his family, because he wants his family to have the very experience that me and you have.
Right.
But here he is, a multi-millionaire. You understand? So his chronic stress is a lot more different than ours.
Great response.
Yeah, because just to piggyback, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but a millionaire's, their stress is going to be chronic also. Their chronic stress, and for us who don't have, our stress is, man, where's my next dollar going to come from? Their stress is, how am I going to not lose my next dollar? Because if you, and I always tell people this, I'm like, as someone who doesn't have, and if you come into and you lose it, you'll be all right. But if someone who has it and doesn't understand life without it, they lose it, they're committing suicide.
They commit suicide.
Because of the fact of what happened to them, and they don't know if they could survive another day. But that's a different type of stress. It's a different type of mentality that they have when it comes to it. So I wouldn't downplay to say that their stress is, I agree with everyone when I say their stress is different. Their stress is chronic, but for us, our stress is not detrimental to our life, where I think their stress will end up in detriment to their life, depending on how everything shapes out.
Point taken.
Yeah, that's good. Take them points.
Right. So stress is across the board. We can agree on that.
Listen, but I'll tell you this: the stress across the board. It's just, I think, what type of stress. Like you say, we have stress to figure out how we're gonna put food on the table. See, them jokers got stress to figure out what they want to eat, because the abundance of what they could eat could be vast. So it's it's different. I would never say, and I think that you know, and I think Lightborn said and made a good point. If Messi was back in his home country, he wouldn't have that problem about going to the store and all that.
No.
You know that. So you know the celebrity in Jamaica. You know, only if some American person see him and be like, all right, then people got. But hey, that joker is a regular person. Like you put your pants on like we only in our country, America, make people more celebrity because we spend so much money in celebrity.
Yes.
You know, I learned that when I lived in the Caribbean. The top calypso singer was a school teacher. He was the best. Listen, he traveled all over the Caribbean, had all the awards, won 7 cars, but he was a goddamn school teacher over at the comprehensive school. You know, and nobody cared when he came.
Right.
Nobody cared when he came into the market. They didn't run around saying nothing, you know. So it is what, you know, we also have to think about how we operate in, you know, being American is very unique than other places. Very, very unique. And we have way more stressors. That's not even that, like they made stressors, things that make stressors that we don't even probably need, but we put them, you know, like what I should wear, what kind of shoe. You know, I seen a post the other day talking about the reason why Remy Ma cheated on Papoose, and they looked down, he had some Fila sneakers on. And I was like, this is America. We would believe that a woman would cheat on her husband, allegedly, because we don't know if this is true or not, but she would leave her husband because of the kind of shoes he wears. Really? Come on, man. Come on, stop it, man.
Hey, listen, Ron. I drive old cars. I have some old cars, are bangers, and I get pressured every day. Why are you driving that old car? Why don't you have a new car? You live in a society that says more. We want more. Remember we talk about this? We live in a more society. And that's some of the pressures why many people are stressed. Because they want more. They see it every day. You're on 441. There's a dealership, there's a new car. What's being advertised on TV? You know, you don't advertise fatherhood, you're advertising a new car for sale. So you're right. I think the society plays a big role in some of the stressors that affect daily people.
Yeah, that's why one monkey don't stop no show, because guess what? We gonna keep on buying. We're gonna keep on.
What you say, this is perfect for the topic. The tie-in with you and Ron and you and Ron is saying that, guess what? Stress is the biggest monkey. You understand? And so if stress is the biggest monkey that we know, and that guess what? Because we're saying that that stress is the monkey that play in both people's shows, whether rich or poor. They play different roles and different characters in different shows, but it's the same monkey that's playing in the same show, which is stress. And so with that, if monkey is a stress and stress is a monkey, then that means capitalism must be the damn King Kong when it comes to the biggest monkey of all in our country. So the biggest monkey of all and the King Kong of monkeys is the stress of capitalism, and that we have to, because again, that's why you're inundated with commercials. I'm talking about the average 1 or 2 year old is already inundated and conditioned to be a capitalist or a capitalist consumer just by on commercials and McDonald's commercials. They don't even know how to say mama yet, but they damn sure know McDonald's. You understand? So you're talking about phonics. And I think capitalism teaches more phonics, far more phonics on a daily basis, spend billions of dollars doing it so they can understand a product, as opposed to the phonemic principles that they need to actually make it in this world.
I like that. And I talk about child support all the time. Majority of the issues that we deal with in the United States, people throw money at the problem. Let's put $10,000 here. Let's put $1 million here. Money don't always solve the problem.
It don't solve most of the problem. Because guess what? You know, I was listening to a mentor of mine, and you know what he said something to me about money, and he said that money really shows you who you are. Because regardless of if you have the money or don't have the money, you're going to be who you are. You know, and so if we got the money, if somebody going to bail you out, like like all the time. I'm looking at, hey, somebody gonna bail you out, make everything good. The question is, all right, will they have to bail you out again?
That's right.
So the money didn't change anything. You had the money and then you got bailed out, and then you needed more money to be bailed out again. I think in many instances, it's decisions we have to make on how we handle money and what we do with money becomes important, not just having money. I think that we have a culture right now who believes that money is key. And I'm telling some students I was working with them, I said, I don't care how much money you got. I can get more things than you can get with my connection and network.
That's right.
Because I don't just get money. I can get money and the resource to get more money and not have to even use it. Matter of fact, not even have to use money. See, when you got the power to get stuff without money, that's something.
They say a rich person said, Grant Cardone, actually, I was watching a clip of one of his videos, and he said, trust me when I tell you, people think that money buys you happiness. And he said, money does not make you happy. Money does not buy you happiness. That's something that you got to get. He said, but I'll tell you this, while I try to figure out how to be happy, I don't mind having the money to help me out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a powerful statement, because a lot of people think that money's going to answer all their issues. Money's going to, man, if I was rich, I'd be able to figure this, I'll be able to do this. And I think, who said it? Did he said it? More money, more problems. You don't understand that with more money, more problems come up, more issues, more, unless like Ron says, you know how to figure out and you have a purpose prior to getting money, then you'll always be without money. Because even when you make money, you're going to lose that money because you don't know how to handle money. Mm-hmm. And you'll probably be in a worse state than you were before.
Worse than when you didn't. You're in a worse state than when you didn't have the money. With the money, I can tell you all about that.
But think, man, to make that money, you got to put in time. I've always said to most fathers that I hear people complain about their jobs, and I say, listen, you have the same 24 hours as your boss. You gotta have to put in time to make that money, and when you put in time to make that money, you're gonna have to give up something else. You won't be available to do what you used to do before because you're trying to make money. So time is a big factor. I have some students here who told me once, my husband is busy, I'm busy, but who's teaching the child? The child is playing video games. So they're playing. They seem to be a very comfortable family, but who's teaching the child? They're trying to make that money to be like maybe the Joneses or to live a better or different life. That money issue is a big issue in many families. Many, especially families who don't know how to manage or control money.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you because I've been practicing what it is to be wealthy any damn way. I'm like, hey, ain't no use in me seeing your line. I want to be filthy rich. And again, I practice those principles of what it means to be filthy rich. And I have to actually run scenarios of when I do become rich, what are the do's and the don'ts? Because there's going to be a lot of them. And if you think having a nervous breakdown when the child support papers come, I can guarantee you, and I'm starting to understand, I'm like, well, I'll be damned. I would really all that. You will get more summons being rich, right?
You will be poor.
Than you would.
That's right.
Just out there being a baby daddy. And the thing about it is, I'm talking about I was like, wow, people do. They're like, man, you don't know. And so it was I had to start learning from the level of lawsuits that people was getting. I mean, like, just when you came rich, and the lawsuits were just showing up, like summons was just showing up like on a weekly basis. And so, every summons you have to appear for. Mm-hmm. Here it is, you're trying to enjoy your money, but now you may have to be in court 4 to 5 times a month. Yeah. You understand? Mm-hmm. As a rich person, when you were just in court one time for that child support. Because now everybody want to sue you just for coming in contact with you. Well, I ain't got to tell you because you seen what happened to the Dallas football player, our friend and fatherhood champion, who played for the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And so he just made contact, and then what he just said hello to the woman. And that cost him all of endorsements. And so if we're gonna, I mean, there's a certain realistic practicality that, back to your point, Ron, being rich will cost you a lot of genuineness. You're not gonna get the level of genuineness from people being rich as you would if you were just working class. I would never like to call people poor, because anybody out there trying and working on their level and making on their level is not poor. You're progressing. And so just working class or rich, I don't see anybody as poor unless you're starving or something like that. And even then, I see that as a process. So
Yeah,
that's just my terminology of it. And again, if you want to be something, you should be practicing and running those scenarios in your head right now. I damn sure want to be one.
So you mentioned rich. Now remember, you can be rich in money and you can be rich in knowledge. You want to attain the knowledge first.
All of it. I don't want to do that. I want all of it, because again, at the end of the day, really at the beginning of the day, and see, that's another principle as well. No, you don't deal with a wealthy person will deal with stuff at the beginning of the day, not the end of it. You understand? So they can be wealthy at the end of the day when they address it at the beginning of the day. But again, that's back to your point, Rohan. You're right with the knowledge, but you should already be attaining the knowledge and acquiring the knowledge, because it is the knowledge and the wisdom that will make you wealthy. People are not just wealthy by osmosis, because any person that get wealth without the wisdom going to end up back broke anyway.
There we go. I always say, if you think the price of knowledge is expensive, check the price of ignorance. That costs more money. So knowledge, always I try to attain knowledge.
But Ron, you had time.
Yeah, right on time, gentlemen. Right on time. We got right here. We kind of like, hey, this monkey not gonna stop.
Time.
And I just want to thank people who have joined us and people who are going to watch this later and the playback. I'm just so elated that we have been working on this gentleman for, almost now 2 years. And the commitment we have to, come every week and give these conversations. And some people, and I think I was speaking to somebody recently who has a podcast, and he was saying, man, how you do it? How you able to do that every week, man? And you also do the little other group afterwards. How you able to do that? And I told him that it's not a show. That's why it's not a show. It's not something that is a production that we're putting on. It's as I like to always equate, it's like going to AA meeting, or going to Bible study, or going to church, or going to it's something that's a part of me, and I go to, and I want to be there. I want to be able to have these conversations. I want to get regenerated when I come here and be able to have these conversations. And I hope that it does that for people who are watching and listening. So I definitely invite you, if you want to not only just watch and listen, if you want to be active and have conversation, welcome you to come to tomorrow's Father's Only Zoom meeting and be able to, articulate yourself about things you may be feeling as a father, as a man, and we can hear you and we can talk to you and you can talk back to us, and everybody who's in the room can just let their hair down and be fathers the way they want to be. And without no judgment, without no boundaries, without no what you should or shouldn't. Well, there is some, let me don't say that. There is some boundaries. Let me don't get too carried away. So I say something, and the next thing I say, you gotta be careful, in this world we live in today. You think people know what you mean, and then they'll say, oh yeah, you down with this, right? And didn't you say that live on a video? You said you down for. I'm not, that's the kind of thing we live in today. But that being said, I want to thank all the fathers for sharing tonight. We'll be back here next week. I received in my email the upcoming show titles. And as I read through them and put them together, again, fathers, if you have some titles that people who are listening, you have some titles you want us to discuss, drop them off, send them, put them in the chat, put them somewhere. I read all this and look and put it together. Again, I just want to thank the fathers for their time. And I know it's not their time because it is their time. See how that plays? It's not their time, it's their time. That they come here and get what they need to get from this time, 90 minutes. We ask for 90 minutes sometimes, 90 minutes a week. And if you like, we take 90 minutes. That's how it goes. Sometimes you get one of them Krispy Kreme donuts and say, I'm only going to have one. And then you say, oh no, let me have 2, 3, 4. Now you got a diabetes. Now you're getting diabetic. But we hope not doing that. That being said, listen, fathers, thank you. And Father, repeat after me. I am.
Ron, before you say
Yeah.
that, before you say that, I just want to let you know that there's been a change on the remote medical. The free clinic that's we're gonna be having medical.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been changed, and I'll get more information back to you when it's probably gonna be in the new year, rather than at the end of this year.
When was that initial date? When was it?
It was December the 5th through the 7th.
Right.
But I'm not sure when it's going to be right now.
Where was that going to be at again? Where was that going to be?
At Board Anderson.
So y'all going back to Board Anderson, but it'll be later in the year.
We're going to Board Anderson. Before we were at Carter Park.
Okay, so we're looking at the Board Anderson medical, as I would call it, medical extravaganza.
No, it's called a remote medical. Medical cool. It's sponsored by our church.
Okay. I think I
understand what you're saying too. Yeah,
I'm just saying the medical extravaganza that Thomas is talking about. That was going to be in December. He will bring back to us later for when it's going to be in the
yes.
So but it'll be at Boyd Anderson. So
it'll be Boyd Anderson, and it will be free.
And it's free, and all the dental work, the medical work, and all that stuff is free when you go.
Yes, and the glasses.
And glasses.
And glasses. So
I go every year, and I can tell you they're wonderful people. They work with you, and it's worth every penny.
Every penny.
It's free. That's ironic. It's free.
I'm sorry. What? What did he say? Free? I didn't say free.
I
heard it was free. And that man talking about it's worth every penny.
I heard
that. All right. Good. Let's go. Father, repeat after me. I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of honor.
I am
a man of honor.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of courage.
I am
a man of courage.
I say, Father, I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Come on, fathers. I say that I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Champions.
Put them up, fellas. Put them up. Put them up.
Yeah.
Put them up.
Here go.
And folks, if you don't know that, you can be a championship father too. This man said I need some rest. So
I can see, man.
I got other things. It's not rest what I need, but we talk about that.
Yes, it's very tired.
I look tired because I don't have my glasses on. When I put my glasses on, I just don't got my glasses on. If that run in my family, we got the raccoon eyes in my family.
Raccoon man.
If you see my sister, you see my dad, you see my little brother and my other sister, we all got the raccoon eyes, man. We look tired, but I'm not that tired.
Make sure you get some rest, bro. Because as a leader, and we have all leaders in this room, we have to get rest. Rest is very important. It's not taking a supplement. It's not trying to do everything. We need to get a good night's rest.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir, doctor.
I'm gonna listen to Rohan because he spent every penny on that medical treatment he gets.
Yes, I know. Let me listen to my Jamaican doctor. I better listen quickly.
Okay, y'all have a blessed night, man.
All right,
Good
man. I
night,
got a
everyone.
good one.
All right.
Next-
Great
Yeah,
show.
Night
Great,
next
great
week.
show,
Great
brother.
guy.
Great show.
Thank you for helping.
All right.
All right.
You and your families.